Welcome back to part 2 of my controversial opinions and rankings of the Star Wars movies. In part 1 we looked at tiers 4 and 3. Tier 4 was made up of one movie, the animated Clone Wars movie, of which I wasn't too impressed. Tier 3 included The Phantom Menace, Solo, Rogue One, A New Hope, and lastly at number 6, Attack of the Clones. So today we'll be looking at Tier 2, which is comprised of 3 movies. All of them I absolutely love, despite some flaws they may have. So continuing on from last time, at number 5, the last of the original trilogy, we have Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi was for a long time my favourite of the originals. When I was younger, I thought the Ewoks were brilliant and loved it more as they had even more lightsaber fights, as at the time, that's all I cared about. Not too different from now really, as long as there's a cool lightsaber fight, I like the movie to some degree. Luke's darker image was portrayed well, as there's a possibility he could be turned to the dark side and join his father. Spoiler alert. Sidious, despite not knowing much about him, is menacing and a creepy and powerful foe. The ending with the reveal of Luke and Leia being related and the redemption of Darth Vader was all done great. I don't have a huge problem with the change George Lucas made at the end, with the Force Ghost being Hayden Christensen. I like Hayden, I understand the idea of why he appears like that. It probably wouldn't have looked right having a scarred and burnt up part of a human body Force Ghost there anyway. Number 4, however, was a difficult one. I have in the past criticised this film saying it was boring, it was just a copy, but after multiple reruns I've grown to enjoy it more and more. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The first time I watched this and came out of the cinema, I claimed that it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. It was a fun and enjoyable movie, but it didn't feel like Star Wars, and I still somewhat believe that. I've never liked Rey, her character, how she's portrayed. I really can't stand her. I loved Finn, Poe, Han, Leia, everyone else I loved, but not Rey. Luke's reveal at the end I thought was a good way of not bombarding us with every old character from the originals and just throwing it all at us, just letting us wait for it, but Han dying, I was not okay with that. I don't mind him dying, just as long as it was used at a good time, and I think they should have let us resettle into this world first with one movie before doing this. Other than that, I thought it was generally a pretty good movie. One thing I have noticed with the sequels compared to the prequels and originals is the lack of imaginative worlds. The CGI in the prequels wasn't necessarily amazing. It was the late 90s and early 2000s, so it wouldn't have been. But what I loved was the incredible new worlds Lucas managed to create. I genuinely believe they should bring back George and let him write and direct again. Just, bring someone else along to rewrite the dialogue or whatever. Now finally, the last in tier 2 and at number 3, The Last Jedi. So many people hate this movie. I personally fully understand your reasons for it. Rey's parents, Snoke's fate, Leia's treatment, Poe, pink hair lady who I don't really care about enough to look up the name of, killing off Admiral Akbar. What? But I loved it. It was so much more entertaining than The Force Awakens for me. I do think JJ and Rian Johnson should have probably co-directed it and written it to just let it flow a bit better and not just contradict everything JJ set up in The Force Awakens. People have a problem with how Luke was written. I really don't. Oh, that's not what a Jedi would do. He's pretty much banished himself because of his failure. He's witnessed countless deaths. Most of his family has died. I think he's allowed to be a little depressed. I would have liked a lot more on the island with Rey and Luke than we got. But his story for me was really good. The depressed old man who's given up because despite his constant triumphs, darkness always returns and seemingly wins. This legend throughout the galaxy has had enough. His own family dead, his own family turning against him, and the turn at the end is before his death he becomes that legend again, facing the First Order. Again, I don't think he should have died. I didn't have a problem with the Force projection. I think that's really cool, but I would have preferred him coming in to save them and living on to teach Rey and be the guidance she needs. Anyway guys, that is all for today. Be sure to check out part 3 when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next time.